Somebody noticed you. Not with a ceremony, not with a pamphlet, just one set of eyes in a crowd, watching you do the thing most people in the Imperium know better than to do. Think independently, ask the wrong question in the right way, survive something with bad odds, and then immediately try to figure out why it happened instead of walking away. An Inquisitor noticed. You didn't see them noticing. That was already the whole point. You came from the Schola Progenium, probably. Most do. The Schola was the Imperium's orphan processing system, which sounds grim until you learn what the alternative looked like. Your parents were dead, both Imperial servants deceased in service. The Imperium called this honorable. You received the notification on the same parchment as your meal assignment for the week. The Schola taught obedience, discipline, and a version of critical thinking that was engineered to arrive at approved conclusions. Most of your cohort became commissars or sororitas or administrative functionaries who would file requisition forms until their hands gave out. You did the thing you apparently were not supposed to do. You noticed the gaps between what instructors said and what the records showed, between the official account of a local incident and what the cleanup servitors had missed, between what senior students discussed openly and what happened to the junior student who asked about it directly. You kept notes. You filed them in your head and in a small coded journal and mentioned them to nobody, because instinct said that broadcasting this particular habit was a fast path to reassignment somewhere with worse rations. The Inquisitor's representative appeared at graduation and pulled 3 of you aside. No ceremony, no explanation. You followed because you had already worked out what not following probably looked like from the other side of that conversation. Your master was not what the mythology implied. There was no mythology, for one thing. The Inquisition does not recruit with mythology. It recruits by watching, selecting, and then presenting the selected with a situation they can't refuse without knowing exactly what refusing means. She was compact and sharp-featured and smelled like industrial solvent and ash in the specific combination you would eventually learn indicated recent flamer work. She introduced herself with a name she told you immediately was not her original name and that you should not become attached to it. Her first training session was a conversation. She described a heresy case you had never heard of, gave you 16 minutes, a data slate with 17 documents, and a room where 3 of them were false. She asked you which 3. You identified 2 correctly and 1 wrong. She told you the results, made a notation, and said, acceptable. The wrong one will bother you until you understand why you missed it. When you understand, tell me. That was the teaching method. Do the thing. Get partial results. Go figure out why the results were partial. Report back. There were no exams, only situations that either worked or didn't, and the debrief after the ones that didn't was conducted with surgical precision and the emotional temperature of a technical manual. She did not shout. Shouting was for people whose tools weren't sharp enough to do the job quietly. Acolyte work had a texture nothing in the Schola had prepared you for, which was the whole point of doing it before you had authority. You were simultaneously less powerful and more dangerous than almost anyone you moved through. Less powerful because you carried no inquisitorial seal of your own and could be detained by any sufficiently senior imperial official until your master arrived to clarify the situation. More dangerous because even delegated inquisitorial authority sat above planetary law enforcement, most guard command structures, and the operational security preferences of organizations that would very much prefer you weren't in the building. You walked through locked doors. The trick was doing it without looking like you needed permission, because the moment you looked like you needed permission, the people inside started wondering who they needed to call. Your first solo operation was surveillance on a mid-hive narcotics network that was, in itself, not the target. It was a cover for a courier system moving something considerably more significant. Your job was to identify the courier infrastructure. Not intercept it, not disrupt it. Identify, map, report, without being identified in return. You spent 11 days in a hab block that smelled like recycled water and someone else's cooking. You wore 3 different identities depending on which floor you were on. You ate ration bars because eating local food meant developing a regular schedule at a fixed location, and a regular schedule meant pattern recognition by anyone paying attention. You mapped the network and filed the report. Your master reviewed it for 40 minutes and then said it was the cleanest map she had received from an acolyte at your stage. She said this with the same tone she would have used to note that the weather was within seasonal norms. That was the highest compliment she ever gave. You understood this about 2 months later, which was also when you understood why you had misidentified the false document in that first test. You told her. She nodded and made a notation. The Ordos were the organizational structure underneath the Inquisition's general authority, and choosing one was less a formal process than a gravitational event. Ordo Malleus dealt with warp incursion and demonic contamination. Their inquisitors had the look of people who had spent extended time adjacent to things actively trying to get inside their heads, with partial success in some cases. The tools included sanctioned psychers and containment specialists, and a working framework for engaging forces that did not follow material physics. The cost was sleeping less than you wanted to and developing a thorough, somewhat impersonal relationship with your own sanity. Ordo Xenos tracked the alien, Eldar, orcs, Necrons, Tyranids, and the catalog of things the Administratum had not yet officially named, but which had definitely eaten a survey team. Their inquisitors were the galaxy's most committed xenologists, which meant knowing more about alien biology and military doctrine than most Imperial commanders considered advisable. Some of them knew enough that the Ordo ran internal reviews specifically to check whether the knowledge had started working in the wrong direction. Ordo Hereticus watched the Imperium itself. Cults, rogue psychers, institutional corruption, unauthorized doctrinal deviation, and the slow collapse of loyalty that preceded faster collapses of everything else. Their targets were human, which made the work both easier and considerably harder. Alien enemies were alien. Heretics were people you had sometimes met before they became cases. You ended up in Hereticus because your master was Hereticus and because the work you were suited for was the work involving human systems, reading them, understanding their pressure points, recognizing the shape of institutional rot early enough to do something before the rot required a different order of response. The different order of response was called exterminatus. It had paperwork. The paperwork existed to create a record that the decision had been made deliberately rather than an error, which provided limited comfort to the planetary populations involved, but which the Inquisition considered important anyway. Full investiture was a procedural event dressed up as a significant one. 3 senior Inquisitors had to agree. Under normal circumstances, the agreement was documented, the new Inquisitor received their seal, and went back to work with the same caseload, but greater authority to prosecute it. The circumstances under which you actually received your seal were different. 2 of the 3 agreeing Inquisitors were unavailable because the operation that was supposed to be a final evaluation had gone significantly off script. Your master was in a field medical situation that precluded her countersigning anything for 6 weeks. The senior Inquisitor Lord overseeing the sector had decided the correct administrative response to you having just resolved a 4-system cult infiltration while your master was incapacitated was to expedite the process. You received the seal from a man who had the manner of someone awake for 30 hours and not interested in ceremony. He handed it across a field table in a command tent that smelled like ozone and burnt documentation. He said, "You're invested. Don't embarrass the conclave." Then he went back to the map he'd been working on. You pocketed the seal and walked back to finish the debrief. Your master, when informed, said, "I would have had you wait another 8 months." But the outcome was clean. Highest available compliment. You knew that by now. The inquisitorial seal was the most powerful object you would ever carry, and the most dangerous thing about it was that most people who needed to understand what it meant were functionally incapable of processing that understanding before their institutional reflexes had already complicated the situation. Planetary governors calculated political exposure. Military commanders calculated chain of command implications. Local enforcement calculated whether their superior officer knew about this yet. Civilians experienced something slightly left of terror and slightly right of complete paralytic uncertainty. None of these reactions were wrong. The seal meant you outranked the room in ways the room's existing hierarchy had no framework for. It meant you could requisition resources, detain individuals, classify information above the clearance of people who had previously considered themselves significantly cleared. It meant a governor who refused your request was making a decision that would be reviewed by someone who could investigate everything associated with the refusal, including the person doing the refusing. The seal also meant that another Inquisitor somewhere potentially disagreed with everything you were doing. This was the architectural tension the Inquisition ran on. No central command above the conclave level. No unified doctrine. Individual Inquisitors with individual philosophies, operating within a shared mandate broad enough to permit profound disagreement about what the mandate actually required. The Puritan line held that the methods used to protect the Imperium should not themselves compromise what the Imperium was protecting. No Xenos alliances, no chaos-derived intelligence. The tools of the enemy were the enemy, and using them made you the enemy on a timeline that varied only in how long it took to become obvious. The radical line held that the galaxy did not reward limiting your toolkit. A contained threat killed fewer humans than an uncontained one. Xeno's intelligence about Xeno's threats was better than no intelligence. The question was not what the tools were, but whether you retained enough of yourself to keep directing them correctly. You had opinions about this. The opinions evolved as the caseload accumulated. Nobody in the conclave was comfortable admitting how normal that was. Your warband accumulated through operational necessity, and the logic of choosing people whose capabilities covered your gaps without introducing worse ones. A sanctioned psyker who had survived the black ships with useful abilities and a psychological profile that ran cautious rather than erratic. An arbitrator with 12 years in planetary law enforcement whose investigation methodology you could trust and whose experience with human systems matched your own. An ex-guardsman whose sole recommendation was that he had encountered a possessed civilian in a firefight, dealt with it correctly with no prior training, and then filed an accurate report rather than a sanitized one. A tech adept who served as the Warband's interface with Mechanicus systems and whose priorities aligned with the Warband's because you had been very clear early about what happened when they conflicted. The Warband was not family. You had watched other Inquisitors make that category error and tracked the downstream effects. The Warband was a set of capabilities organized around a shared purpose, maintained by mutual trust that had to be continually earned rather than assumed. You liked them. That was a separate category from what they were operationally, and keeping the categories separate was part of keeping the Warband functional. The ones who died doing work that mattered. You filed that in the same place you filed everything that needed to be kept, but not examined regularly. 30 years in, you became the type of case you had spent 30 years investigating. Not heresy, not in the formal sense, but the slow accumulation of compromises, each defensible in isolation, each made in a situation where the alternative was measurably worse. The planet you had not recommended for exterminatus because the cult was contained and the intelligence value of the surviving infrastructure was too high, the Xenos artifact you had confiscated from a radical cell and not destroyed, because the data it contained about a currently active species was irreplaceable. The decision in a collapsing building on a death world where one option was technically cleaner and the other was the one where everyone survived. You did not become a radical. By most functional definitions, you remained a Puritan. But you understood by year 30 why the line between the two was not a wall. It was a measurement, and what it measured changed depending on where you were standing when you took the reading. Your master, when you discussed this with her, still operating, still sharp, considerably more scared, said, "The Inquisitor who is certain they have not moved is the one you watch most carefully." She said it as data, not comfort. You processed it as data. That was the correct response. The conclave convened on cases where individual Inquisitors' conclusions conflicted in ways requiring collective resolution. Attending one as a peer rather than an observer was instructive. The room, contained people who had each independently determined their reading of a situation was correct inside an organization with no mechanism for binding rulings other than the agreement of the people present. The politics were Byzantine. The philosophy was genuine. The arguments were serious in ways planetary command-level arguments typically weren't, because everyone in the room had personally encountered the consequences of being wrong. You argued a case. You were overruled on one point and upheld on two. The Inquisitor who overruled you was not incorrect. You had been working with incomplete data, and the complete data set supported her conclusion. You updated your working framework accordingly. She noted this with a nod that indicated she had expected either this response or a worse one, and was recording which one she got. 40 years of this. The cases changed in scale and complexity over time, but not in their fundamental nature. Each one sat on top of the accumulated weight of the previous ones. The newer acolytes looked at you with an expression you eventually recognized as the same one you had worn watching your master. Wanting to learn what you knew without entirely wanting to know what it cost. You told them the useful parts. You held the rest for when it was relevant. Not withholding. Pacing. Giving someone the information they could use at the point when they could actually use it. Your master had done the same. You understood now that this was the reason. The seal on your wrist was the same one from the field table. You had had the housing replaced once after a structural collapse on a manufacturing world. The seal itself was undamaged. It still functioned the same way it always had. You walked into rooms that went quiet, not the fierce silence that raw authority produced. A different kind, the recognition that the person who just entered had been doing this longer than many of them had been alive, and had opinions about what they saw in the room that were going to be accurate, and that they were going to hear those opinions whether or not they had asked. You had become, somewhere in the accumulation of years, the type of person other Inquisitors asked questions in the way they would have asked questions of your master. Not a surprise, a calibration point, a measure of how far the work had carried you, and how much of what you had been when you started was still present in what you had become. Most of it, more than the work typically permitted. In any honest accounting, that was as much as could reasonably be asked. The inquisitorial seal is the most powerful object in the Imperium for carrying every day. Not the most powerful in any absolute sense. Titans existed. Ordnance existed that reclassified planetary topography. Space Marine chapters could end wars by showing up. But those things were deployed. The seal was carried. It moved through the same corridors as everyone else on the wrist of someone in civilian clothes on a transit hub, surrounded by people who had no idea what they were standing next to. The gap between what the seal meant and what it looked like was the whole job. Always had been. You were the Imperium's immune system, operating below the threshold of visibility until visibility became the most efficient response to the specific threat in front of you. You did not enjoy the work, exactly. Enjoyment was the wrong category, but you had spent 40 years doing it, and the galaxy was in marginally better condition than the projections suggested it should be, accounting for what your conclave had collectively done. That was not a feeling so much as a calculation that produced a result that made continuing to show up feel like the correct conclusion. You cleaned your equipment. You reviewed the current caseload. You looked at the new acolyte your senior analysis had flagged. Young from the Scola, with a notation that read notices gaps in official accounts. You decided to begin the evaluation. You always decided yes. Somewhere in the crowd, they had not seen you looking. That was still the whole point. That had always been the whole point.